It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
Welcome back this morning. Feel free. You can text us at 870-275-9799. You can also sound off over at the Facebook page, which apparently is up and running again from yesterday. That's facebook.com/Conduit News. But don't forget, go into the YouTube page as well. Like or subscribe and click the little bell to receive notifications. And we're also broadcasting over at conduitnews.com as well via live stream. So you want to check that out as well. And the great stories at Conduit News. You also want to shop at Conduit News, by the way. And I'll tell you more about that here in just a moment. But, folks, I want to tell you, first of all, this segment is brought to you by the Patriots of Act 746. Now, they are on a mission, by the way, to educate Arkansans about your Arkansas laws concerning guns, your Second Amendment rights, but specifically your rights here in Arkansas. And that Act 746 decriminalized guns, the possession of guns, in public to the point where we have constitutional carry in this state. And there was actually, and if you want to find out more, by the way, go to Facebook and search for the Patriots of Act 746. There was actually really a campaign that the Patriots of Act 746 started on, a journey, if you will, a trek, if you will. And they started this trek about 5 years ago, where they started saying things, radical things like, hey, did you know in Arkansas you don't need a permit to carry your weapon open? Then they said something even more wild. Hey, did you know in Arkansas you don't need a permit to carry your gun concealed? Uh-oh. That didn't go over too well with a lot of authorities, but they kept saying this over and over. And there'd be a prosecutor that would drop a charge from an officer who arrested somebody for possession of a gun, but the prosecutor kept dropping the charge. And then there'd be another prosecutor that would drop the charge because they were reading the law, and they knew that they couldn't get a conviction because of what the law now said. And then, back in October of this year, there was a judge that in dicta wrote, in his opinion, the state of Arkansas's gun law concerning a Fourth Amendment case, a probable cause case, but stated clearly that carrying a weapon is not an excuse for pulling somebody over and following somebody. And that was a big deal. Now, Conduit News reported on it. Obviously, the Patriots of Act 746 issued statements. But there was actually another another media outlet called the Resident Press, and you can find them at residentpress.com. And a journalist, a reporter, reported on this. Her name is Tammy Teague. Her story here, Constitutional Carry Law Upheld. This was back on November the 2nd. She wrote this. And Tammy joins us now on the phone. Tammy, welcome to Conduit News Radio this morning. How are you?
Thank you, Mr. Harrell. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing very good. Now, I also understand you've got your publisher there on the phone as well, right?
Yes, my publisher, Jason Baggett.
Jason, how you doing?
Good morning.
How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for having us. We appreciate this.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Tammy, let me talk to you first. So, how did you first find out about this, and what compelled you to report this news?
Sure. I actually worked at a former newspaper with a young lady, and she is a member of Patriots of Act 746. And she had sent me a message and said, this happens. You might want to look into it. And it's kind of one of my things. Especially, I was surprised that nobody had looked into it. So I began to dig into it, and sure enough, it has gotten no coverage. So I contacted a few different agencies, and I contacted some of, our state representative, and Representative Marcus Richmond got back to me. I kind of sat on it for a little while, but when I heard back from him, I felt like, this is newsworthy. When you have a state representative that comes out in support and matter of fact, if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and read what his statement was. He said, in a quote, in the Taft case, the judge ruled that you did not have to have a concealed carry permit to carry concealed. Act 746 folks have been waiting on this ruling, and they got what was needed. I am pleased with the ruling. I do not believe we have to have permission to carry. The permit in Arkansas was and is one of the most expensive around our area. The training was questionable in many places and wasn't worth the cost. So I felt like that was, I think it's important that it affects a lot of our readership, and that's what we're here for. That's what we're the heart of community news at Resident Press, and so this was important for me to report on.
Yeah, and I think it's a big deal that State Representative Marcus Richmond, I mean, he's not only state representative from that area that you're covering, but also we're talking about the majority leader of the Arkansas House of Representatives. Now, you would think that this would get picked up other places, and other people would report it and start asking questions. Wait, what happened in this particular court case? What did the judge say? But it's really kind of been crickets for the most part.
Sure, and that's, I'm not sure because the ruling, I've gone over it because it's important that we're not right, we're not left, we report facts and let people make their decision based on those facts. And the fact is that in this case, this Taft versus Arkansas, this judge from Montgomery County said that merely possessing a weapon is not a crime in the state of Arkansas, and that with the purpose to intent to unlawfully pull the handgun, they have to prove unlawful intent. And this gentleman in this case had a handgun in the waistband of his pants, and so those are facts, and that's what we report.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I'm reading from the opinion as well, Tammy, and what's interesting here is the state's argument. And when you go up to the middle of page 9 in the ruling, the state argued that Officer Davis seized Taft because he, quote, had to determine the lawfulness of Taft's conduct going in and out of the store and carrying the weapon and acting suspiciously. I mean, that is huge that the judge rejects that argument because of Act 746.
Absolutely. So, it's clear. It's important that they have case. This is case law now, and so I'm not sure why nobody else has picked it up. But we are our own, and it's important that things that affect our readers, that we're reporting on them. This clearly affects our readers, and so it's important for us to report on that. So,
so Jason Baggett, the publisher here, just tell us a little bit about how you got into into this particular business, and tell us about this local website, residentpress.com, and what your background is.
Sure, thank you very much. Well, it's kind of a weird story, to be honest with you. I never intended nor wanted to get into the news business. Several years ago, I had to work with a local paper, and they misspelled a child's name, and that child's name was my son. And it affected me personally. That was his 5 minutes of fame. So I used my marketing background, my website building background, and just several different elements that I've kind of grown into to start this website. And it had a very slow start. The initial intent was just to cover our hometown and outlying areas. And then all of a sudden it just took off. The premise of it was, and this is kind of, Tammy has said time and time again, we're community-focused news, and we are. We don't cover some of the big cities. We don't cover national news. We cover the heartbeat of what's happening in our local communities. But the kind of the opinion and the tagline I've been using is how can you trust a news source on facts if they can't spell someone's name right? and I say that with a lot of joking, but there's a lot of truth to that. And Tammy just, her heart and her passion is involved in this. You can see it in her work. Each article is really, really fact driven. In fact, we would rather wait on an article instead of push it out. But we want it to be factual. We want it to be truthful. If not, we're not going to publish it. And then from there, we've actually grown into another website that covers an additional area to the northeast. And people know us for our heart. We're just very blessed that we have that following and the public opinion that they trust.
Wow. Now, talk about you talk about it's local community focus. So go ahead, because we're on multiple stations across the state. So go ahead and tell us which communities Resident Press is focused on.
Resident Press covers the areas from just north of Hackett, Arkansas, through Mansfield, and just south of Waldron, Arkansas, and the outlying communities such as Huntington, Hartford, Dayton, those little smaller towns and smaller communities. Resident 22 News covers just west of Barling through Lavaca, Arkansas. We're going to be adding Charleston, Arkansas to that hopefully around the first of the year.
I want to point out here that this is such a great opportunity. We live in a period right now because of the openness and the freedom of the internet where this is able to happen, and you're able to build a following based on reputation, consistency, and things like that. And I just want to point out, this is just in my opinion, this is why we need to leave the internet alone. There have been people floating, things about how journalists need to get, credentialed and things like that and that's to stop people from being able to do exactly what you guys are trying to do. And so I just want to say thank you for, being willing to, be this arbiter, be this messenger, and put the facts out there, and then let people make up their own minds. I think it certainly is a lost practice today, for sure.
Well, I personally appreciate that. And I'll tell you, this year, this past 12 months has really shown us the fruits of our labor. We've had seniors in high school take senior photos in our T-shirts. That was probably one of the most jaw-dropping moments.
Wow.
We've had, how many news sources can you say that's had their, a senior take their senior picture in one of your T-shirts? We've actually, when we go to places, and we are credentialed, the safety and the well-being of Tammy and everyone who on our team is my first and primary focus. I would never send them into any area that would be harmful.
Well, now they can carry a gun if they want, if they want, Jason.
Exactly.
That's right. Good. That's good, Paul.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing that really showed me what we're doing and how we're doing it is when we get on a scene or an event, you can hear people, Resident Press is here. Hey, that's Resident Press. And the little kids want their pictures taken and all of that. But
wow.
But we share the success as a team, and we do this for our readers and the people.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Well, Mr. Baggett, I certainly appreciate coming on the program. And Tammy, give you the last word here. Do you think we're going to get more stories, more developments? I mean, I'm sure as let me ask you this, Tammy. Did you reach out to the Arkansas State Police, for example, and ask them about this Taft versus Arkansas ruling?
I did reach out to the Arkansas State Police. I am completely transparent, and I discussed with Gary the fact that if someone can present facts, not opinions, but facts on anything that I've reported is untrue, I welcome that.
Yeah.
I am I am no expert and don't claim to be an expert on laws.
Well, the reason I asked that is just because Marcus Richmond has a comment, and then you reached out to the Arkansas State Police for comment, and I'm assuming they did not respond. Is that correct?
They did not. They did not respond.
Okay.
So
I just wanted to make sure everybody knew. In the interest of being just straight news, you are attempting
Absolutely.
to get both sides of the story here.
Absolutely, fair and balanced,
Okay.
and I give everybody the same opportunity, and that's no bad reflection on Arkansas State Police, whatever. But I did provide that opportunity, and I did not hear back.
All righty. Well, Tammy Teague, appreciate it, reporter for ResonantPress.com, and we also appreciate Mr. Jason Baggett being with us this morning. I hope you guys have a blessed and happy Thanksgiving, okay?
Thank you so much. And also, Gary asked me to say on behalf of the Patriots of Act 746, Happy Thanksgiving, and on behalf of us also.
All right.
Everyone.
All right.
Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Thank you, guys. Have a great morning and the rest of your break. Yeah, folks, Patriots of Act 746 on a mission to educate Arkansans about your gun rights. Now, go to the Facebook page while the platform still exists. Go to the Facebook page and search for Patriots of Act 746. And it's a closed group, but it's 17,000 strong, 17,000 plus. Ask to be a member, and now you're going to get access to a ton of great information, a ton of knowledgeable patriots that believe in the natural, God-given right of self-defense, that it is a human right. And that is what has informed all of their decisions when it comes to the laws about your gun rights here in Arkansas. We're going to take a break. Going to be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.